Thank you. I think we have tremendous apprenticeship programs in Wisconsin, both union and non-union. I think it's not unusual to find programs in which people they don't pay tuition themselves, but programs in which they're paid to take the classes is not unusual. I think insofar as we have a problem that has to be addressed, is we have to find a way to persuade, and people are catching on their own, but find a way to make sure that more people understand the most secure way for a career and the way to make the most money is to get involved in what I'll call skills-based education. And you will do better than your brother who's got a communication arts degree or psychology degree. And somehow we got to get that out more. I mean, there are so many people who are very quickly making six figures without debt, provided they go the skills education sort of way. Now we'll start with Mr. Ross. When I was elected in Congress, since being elected in Congress, I try to ensure that students are well equipped to take advantage of apprenticeship programs. I'm very happy to see the work done at Reach University. Can you elaborate on the industries that you're currently focused on and where you may continue to expand? And do you operate, well, go ahead.
Well, thank you for the question. You know, in every county in this country, there are schools that need teachers. In almost every county, there are clinics that need nurses. And these are fields where an apprenticeship degree allows local people to rise up. And so the industries that we're seeing first are teaching, healthcare. That's where this starts, because to fill those higher paying jobs, employers know they need to train their people for a period of time.
Okay. Mrs. Angel, rather than waiting for talent to appear, Caliber's invested in building its own workforce pipeline. Why did your company decide to pursue apprenticeships as part of that strategy? And what were the key lessons learned in the development of your workforce programs?
Thank you for the question. At Caliber, we've always had an apprenticeship program, just not official. Our industry was built on teaching those who came into the business. That's how I learned. That's how our chief operating officer learned, where he started out sweeping shop floors. It's always been inherent in our business. We've just taken that a step further and worked with vocational school programs and other external partner groups as a primary source of talent to build a more robust pipeline because of the tech shortage that has grown.
Yeah, I'll ask you guys a general question, kind of jumping off to the side here. Do you feel the problem is more we don't have enough people to get involved in these apprenticeships, or is the problem more we need more apprenticeships openings? You see what I'm saying? We agree we need more people on skills, but where's the bottleneck? Not enough people want to become a skilled tradesman, or we don't have enough slots for apprentices?
For our industry, we find that the biggest bottleneck is really incentivizing mentors to continue the scalability of the program. We have a lot of interest in people coming into the industry and the marketplace, but it takes a mentor to be able to have an apprentice, and growing and scaling that program is costly.
Mr. Ross, same question.
Well, you know, in healthcare and teaching, as I said, employers are at the table. They haven't seen shortages like this in their lifetimes. And in the very same schools where we don't have enough teachers, there's people already working there. They're working as classroom aides, in the lunchroom, as paraeducators. If only they could actually get trained, they could rise up, double their salary in some states, and become teachers.
You mentioned nurses. You think the problem is there are not enough slots? Well, if I want to become a nurse, there are not enough slots.
Nursing's interesting. One of the challenges in nursing is the practice of not paying clinical rotations, and an apprenticeship is a paid job. So a challenge is bringing together a nursing board and the programmatic accreditors and the employers in higher ed and getting them to do a model that looks like an apprenticeship. It takes coordination. Some states have figured this out, like Alabama, but it's been a barrier, and it's something that we need to overcome if we're going to address the nursing shortage.
Thank you. I guess